Chuck Martin is a New York Times best-selling author, futurist, freelance writer, and he's been a leader in emerging digital technologies for more than 2 decades. Feels like that's almost how long I've known you, Chuck. I've known you a very long time. He's considered one of the foremost Internet of Things or IoT experts in the world, and is I think the last book you wrote, unless you have a new one you haven't told me about, was entitled Digital Transformation 3.0. The new business to consumer connections of the Internet of Things. Do you still host the podcast? Can I talk about that?
Yeah, the podcast is downloaded in 50 countries.
That's awesome. He's the author of Net Future, Mobile Influence, The New Power of the Consumer, The Third Screen, and 8 other business books. This guy loves to write. He loves to talk about things he feels passionately about. He's a frequent keynote speaker internationally. I would imagine he's a virtual keynote speaker these days. And Chuck was also the editor of the Media Post AI and IoT Daily, the largest AI and IoT daily publication in the world, and writes the well-read daily column Connected Thinking, sent to hundreds of thousands of people. He's been named #1 in the Internet of Things Top 10 Influencers by IT Chronicles, Top 10 of the 100 Top IoT Influencers by Rise Global, and in the top 100 IoT influencers by Postscapes. Please follow him on Twitter at Chuck Martin. Chuck, dude, how are you? How's life?
I'm good. How are you? Great to be here.
No, it's
I love your shows, by the way.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I think it's hopefully tailor made for these times, and the short attention spans that we all seem to be evolving toward. We've pressed the IoT button very heavily on your introduction and kind of the swimming pool that you're in right now. If you can give me the quick 2 to 3 minute on, what's the state of the union? How have things like COVID-19 and this crazy economy impacted IoT in an observable way?
Well, right now companies are trying to figure out what to do about IoT, and the first month or so of COVID, everyone's just kind of spinning around saying, "What is going on?" What I'm suggesting to businesses right now, it's the time. This is the better time than ever to tap tech. If you look at what's happening in the market, we're becoming contactless. We've got no touch purchasing. We've got connected cars. We've got drone delivery, robotic delivery, and we're trying to, because of COVID, avoid people touching things or touching people, which is kind of ironic since a lot of business is a people business.
Right.
So what I'm suggesting companies that they need to do is really automate as much as they can right now, and that's things like chat. Everyone's doing. I mean, all the businesses are doing chatbots already, but there's going to be a lot more of that. Where if you anyone who looked at like PPP, those kinds of things with COVID, they were dealing with people. Companies basically could not handle it with people.
Right.
They had to automate it. There's just too much volume right now. And if you look at everyone, they're all working at home or working remotely, and there's no way to manage that physically for a business.
Right.
So it's really about automating things. The other really big thing that I'm suggesting to people is it's not so much in the next year. It's not going to be so much what you do. It's going to be when you do it. It's really, I see it coming into timing. I'm actually working on a book, another book, my lucky 13th book. The future is coming, just not when you think. And that's kind of a reality. It's in what I look at. If you look at things like 5G, 5G is going to change everything.
I know.
People don't realize how significant that is.
Right.
So this is a time for companies to dive into that stuff. Don't dive away from it. Dive into it. Look at how you can use technology differently than you have in the past.
Right.
It's basically this is the time to. It's an opportunity to reinvent.
Okay.
This is like some of your viewers will remember Y2K.
Yeah.
Y2K was a time where, because it was going to change at the turn of the century, we had an opportunity to change everything. So a lot of companies did change everything, and that's where we are right now with COVID.
I'm going to dovetail onto that COVID stuff as it relates to IoT, and just kind of the next lead in is sort of on what about the evolution of the AI? It seemed to me the marketplace was very interested and on a very aggressive path towards incorporating AI pre-COVID. Can you give us maybe the 1 minute on what's happening in AI because of COVID?
Yeah, what I would suggest, AI is booming right now, especially in the enterprise. And what I would suggest is for people take a look at what AI is doing in healthcare, because right now AI is being used to essentially analyze lung scans, to to identify prostate cancer, to basically backstop radiologists so that it can catch something for, say, breast cancer, for example. This is
Mm-hmm.
just a week ago this happened, where in Europe, that it requires two radiologists to look at a scan. Well, this thing has the potential in the future to eliminate that second radiologist.
Mm-hmm.
And also, there are cases where it actually caught, in the trials, it caught two cases of breast cancer that the radiologist missed, and they called the people back, and then they were basically misdiagnosed. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot going on in healthcare, especially around COVID, for example, analyzing and using AI to predict at the very beginning of a positive case. They can actually use AI to predict who is going to be more severe and who's not going to be more severe. So AI is leading the way, and AI, by the way, during this whole COVID thing, it didn't go away. It's been going like it's been going
I
straight
know.
up.
Exactly.
Um,
And my last question to you in the time we have remaining here, Chuck, is a question I ask everybody, which is, what lessons have we learned or are we learning right now that we just must not, forget?
Well, I think that the big thing I've learned, it's basically it's how you look at this in business. In all business, things change, and all COVID is. I mean, I don't want to dismiss the severity, but all COVID is, it's things changing. It's a big change. Mobile was a big change. IoT was a big change. COVID is a big change,
Hmm.
but things change, and businesses know how to deal with change. They just haven't thought of it that way,
Hmm.
and I'm looking at COVID as it's an enormous opportunity to tap tech like you haven't ever tapped it before,
Hmm.
and start to leverage all these things from the past revolutions: IoT, internet, mobile, and so forth. AI, a lot of new 5G, all the new technologies. Dive in, grab it, and leverage it. And right now, it's time to basically for business either grow or die.
Exactly. Hey, Chuck, dude, it's been too long. Let's
I
not
agree.
lose touch with each other, and hopefully we'll talk again real soon. Okay.
I'll keep watching your shows. Have a good time.